Fox Sports.
We are the Fox. We are the West.
He's taken the mound as a major leaguer in 2 different millennia. He's plied his craft for 11 different teams, including one which no longer exists. He lit up the radar gun at 24 and continues to keep hitters guessing at 45. He set the baseball world on fire at 42 years old with 1 swing of the bat.
It's out of here! Bartolo has done it! The impossible has happened!
He brought the defending World Series champions to their knees while rarely topping 90. 21 seasons, over 500 starts, a lifetime of memorable moments. Bartolo Colon is the most interesting man in baseball.
Bartolo also one of the most entertaining men in baseball. Saying hello to some old teammates today, Rangers and Twins. And bring your green hats. We're going streaking. Rangers have won 7 straight. Welcome in, everybody. Great to be with you. I'm Dave Raymond alongside CJ Nikowski. Indeed, the Rangers are streaking, and today they hope to keep it going, make it 8 in a row behind the great one, Bartolo Colon.
Yeah, it's always fun when we get a Bartolo Colon start. We'd like to talk about history, but we also like to look at what he has done and how he has done it at the age of 45. It's been pretty incredible how impactful he has been in this rotation and how important he has been for the Texas Rangers. But check this out. Among active pitchers, not surprising when you've been around as long as Bartolo has, the most starts, the most wins, the most innings as well. 3rd in strikeouts. He's not a big strikeout pitcher. That's kind of Bartolo Colon's game. It is all about that 2-seam fastball and inducing contact. He has been terrific, as I mentioned, even at the age of 45. And now here is where he ranks among Latin-born pitchers, and an opportunity to go for some more history today for Bartolo. If he can get a win, he would tie Dennis Martinez with 245 wins. That's the most by any Latin-born pitcher.
Yeah, pretty awesome. We're looking forward to that this afternoon. Now, Friday, when we opened the series, we were talking a lot about some of the young players in this series on both sides. But, you know, with Bartolo Colon, very much a veteran player. Let's not forget the offense right now being led by another very veteran player.
Yeah, pretty incredible for Adrian Beltre at 39 years old. The old-timers hopefully expecting to play a big role in today's game. And Adrian also gets it done. Really impressive with the bat. And you see what he has done over his last 11, the .386 average. It's the extra base hits. It's the OPS getting on, playing some really good defense as well. Of course, we see him not playing third as much. He'll DH once in a while. But Adrian Beltre really has not lost a step. And we talk about this all the time with him. His importance inside the Ranger lineup, of course, the clubhouse matters, but what he does in that lineup, the way that he balances things out, what he brings to the table just continues to be so big here for the Rangers.
At 39 years old, you look at the last 4 players who hit .314 or better at age 39 and up. Boy, Big Papi, Barry Bonds, Ricky Henderson, and the great Paul Molitor, now manager here in Minnesota. He has a little perspective on the kinds of things that Adrian is accomplishing right now.
He's a special player and a special person. I've gotten to know him a little bit. You know, you think of guys like him and, you know, Albert out with the Angels, these guys that have found a way to stand the test of time and still be vital pieces to their teams. They've done it the right way. They haven't done it for the glory. They've just found a way to go out there and maximize their skill and take it, you know, into the stages of life where a lot of people don't get to go in terms of still playing.
Nice words from a Hall of Famer, and so Beltre hopes to lead the offense again this afternoon. This offense has been great for a long period of time now, and Leslie McCaslin has it in the spotlight when we come back.
Rangers baseball is sponsored by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency.
Plattsburgh Rangers have given their fans something to cheer about all weekend long here at Target Field as they go for their 8th straight win today. Well, the Rangers offense has been on fire. They scored 9 runs in yesterday's win, 17 in the last 2 games. That's why the entire offense is in our Shiner Box spotlight today, because they have been so solid during the 7-game win streak. And check this out. Over the last 22 games, they're averaging 5 runs a game. Their on-base percentage and walks are up, and the strikeouts are down. Joey Gallo, who's DHing today, has also noticed the difference.
I think things are just kind of going our way right now. We're just going out there and making the pitcher work, making them throw a lot of pitches, and like I said, taking our walks. Like, we weren't doing that early in the year, and now we're walking a ton, every game, and that's huge. I think that's a big part of an offense, especially our offense. If we can take our walks, we're going to be pretty good.
Several guys have pointed to the fact that Elvis Andrus is back, and that's been a reason for the spark in this lineup, but they'll have to do it without him today. Elvis is getting the day off. Someone who is not getting the day off, though, is Shin-Soo Choo. He still has his active streak going 36 straight on base, and the Rangers looking to sweep their first 6-game road trip since May of 1991. Lineup's first pitch coming your way next.
Young talent. This series is no different. Nomar Mazara is the silent assassin. The next in a long line of Dominican stars. Eddie Rosario is a fun-loving and free-swinging slugger. He has a favorite son, Puerto Rico, a hitting machine with light tower power.
A grand slam!
2 rising stars, both capable of making their mark at any time.
What a throw from Eddie Rosario.
Now, watch these 2 stars evolve. Just about set for the final game in this 3-game series this afternoon. Rangers and the Twins, the 7-game winning streak for Texas right now, and one of the interesting side notes is that it comes on the heels of a 7-game losing streak, and you can see the difference in the numbers. Batting 50 points higher, the ERA cut almost in half, and just far more effective in every aspect of the game so far.
Yeah, everything happening right now over these last 7 for the Rangers. That's what you want to see. Good improvement over these last 7 games. I want to see it continue to keep going as well.
Chu swinging on the first pitch, lifts this one out to left field, and that one off the fence. Chu heads to second, and he starts the game with a leadoff double.
There he goes, number 17 for Chu, and this game is quickly underway, and the Rangers continuing to do what they have been doing. And Chu in the leadoff spot, it really has been something special. This is a good pitch from Barrios. This wasn't a get me over first pitch fastball to start the game. That ball was on the corner with some movement on it, some life. This guy's got a really good arm, and Chu almost hit this ball out of the ballpark. That was at the top of the wall in left center field. Wow. I guess he's ready.
I guess so. Continues his on-base streak, and Profar also going after the first pitch. We take a look at our Southwest starting lineup for the Rangers. Chu out at second base, Profar at shortstop batting second, Mazara in right field, and it's Beltre, Odor, Gallo. Bottom of the order, Kiner Falefa catching, Guzman and DeShields in center field. One strike offering, and Rangers are up there swinging today. Profar in a hole 0-2. He slides into the second spot on the order today. As Leslie mentioned, Elvis Andrus not in the lineup today, a day off for him. And so while he has been holding that down since coming back off the disabled list, today the responsibilities go to Profar. Jurickson was hit by the pitch 3 times yesterday, which was the second time that has happened this month for him. And Paul Molitor, their manager, and Jeff Bannister exchanging words dugout to dugout when the third hit by pitch occurred.
Yeah, and I think understandably so that Banny was upset with the hit by pitch. You see Jurickson take strike 3. It certainly did appear to be intentional, and comments that followed also kind of alluded to that as well. It seemed like the Twins just weren't happy with a stolen base from Jurickson Profar in the 4th inning. I mean, it was the 4th inning. Yes, the game was 9-2, and ultimately the tying run came to the plate. So for me, the intentional hit by pitch was not justified in that spot.
Well, the Rangers ended up winning the ball game, and I guess at the end of the day, that's the last lap. 9-6, the final score yesterday, giving them 7 straight victories. Longest winning streak right now in Major League Baseball. Now 1 out with Profar going down looking. Here is Nomar Mazara, and he takes one on the outside corner for a strike. Nomar at 277 yesterday, drove in a couple of runs again. Was 1 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. Mazara, though, working on a 6-game hitting streak. And now a turn, a throw back to second. But you just got back there.
Adrianza thinks that they got you. As he pointed into the dugout, wants them to take a little bit of a closer look. This was very close, and a quick move by Barrios. Watch Adrianza flashes the glove, which gives the pitcher the indicator that he is going to go to the bag. It's kind of the universal sign for I'm going to cover. And waiting and still making a decision. They got to be out of time here, don't they? And they're not going to review it. But watch the glove here. You see Chu get in, and that hand just barely gets in. That was close. Watch the glove. See, we call that flashing the glove right there. That means you cannot pitch as a pitcher. Whenever you see a middle infielder throw his glove out there like that, that means I'm going to the bag. I'll be at a position. Don't throw a pitch. You either throw to second base or you can step off. You don't have to throw to second, but you cannot deliver a pitch when a middle infielder either as the shortstop flashes the open glove or the second baseman with his hand, because that means he will be standing on second base here pretty soon.
1 ball, 1 strike on Mazara. And Barrios gets him to pull this one foul. So that's somewhat like, you know, on a hit and run where you have to swing, right? I mean, you're obligated to swing. Same sort of thing where you just can't let your teammates down by throwing the pitch there. I mean,
well,
obviously you can open a huge hole.
Exactly. What it means is he's going to be out of position. So you're always taught when you see the open hand, flash of the glove, whatever it may be, that you shouldn't throw a pitch home. You just shouldn't do it because he is telling you he's going to be out of position. And if you don't feel like throwing, you don't see what he sees, you don't think there's going to be a play, then you just step off and don't throw it. But yes, that is kind of universal baseball language.
Mazara shoots this one in the air out to left field, but Rosario is there, and there are 2 away.
Let's get to the pitch arsenal for Jose Barrios, the right-hander for the Minnesota Twins. He's got a good arm, and you'll see the fastball 35% of the time on the four-seamer, another 28% on the two-seamer. The curveball is the go-to off-speed pitch. It's been a good one, just a 170 batting average against that pitch. That is the pitch in which he registers the most swings and misses, and it's tied for the pitch in which he's gotten the most strikeouts. 38 on the curveball, another 38 on the four-seam fastball.
Well, he will deal with Adrian Beltre here. Chu opened the game on the very first pitch with a double off the wall. But he is still there now with 2 outs. And there you see Beltre, 314 average. More success here in Minnesota, 5 for 10 in this series. Yesterday had 3 hits, including a home run. And it was a big home run. Out near the 411 marker. Just to the left of center field and out into those bullpens.
Yeah, it was. There's no cheap home runs here at Target Field. If you get one, you've absolutely earned it. And that one, Adrian earned. He crushed that ball. Still, I don't want to say barely got out of here, but it wasn't 30 rows deep. Every once in a while, you would see some highlights of somebody going in the upper deck here, which is always pretty shocking. Pretty big ballpark, but there are no cheap home runs, that's for sure.
Well, you're right. I mean, a very big ballpark and plays big, which is good for pitchers, guys like Jose Barrios. And in fact, to that end, Barrios has been excellent here at home, not just this year, but in his career. Since the beginning of last season, he's 14-3 here in this home ballpark, and his ERA 2.65. Good piece better than he does away from home. This ball on the ground into left field, base hit. Chu got a good start, and they will stop him last second. The throw offline. He probably would have scored. I don't know. The throw was off the mark, but that's why I was a little surprised when I saw Beasley waving him and then suddenly threw up the stop sign and kept him there.
Yeah, that was a tough one there, even though there's 2 outs and this ball was hit so hard. You see it finishing over the middle and even a little bit on the inner third, and Chu's going as hard as he can with 2 outs, and I think he assumed he was going to score. But listen, the throws offline, you can't predict that. But as far as the timing of the play, I think Tony Beasley made the right call. As far as when he caught that ball, if that throw was on the mark and Chu had gone, he probably would have been out by a pretty decent amount.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling real good when I saw the windmill going and Chu thinking about chugging to the plate. Good job picking up the stop sign because it came up pretty quickly.
Of course, Rosario throws the ball pretty well. He's got a good arm, so you got to have that as part of the equation as well when you're trying to figure it out, put it all together. Here's a good look right here. As this ball hit hard into left field, he came up, scooped that perfectly. That's a beautiful exchange by Rosario, even though that throw was up the line just a little bit.
Well, puts it all on the shoulders now. Rougned Odor. The Rangers are to get a run this inning. Men on the corners, 2 out. And he takes downstairs, 2-0.
So it was interesting to see Chu come out and swing right away first pitch. And if you look at Barrios, he's a good strikeout pitcher, 9.1 strikeouts per night. So he knows how to finish off hitters. The highest OPS that he has allowed this year has been on 0-0 counts. It's been 936. Once you get past that 0-0 count, regardless whether he is ahead or behind, it continues to get better. And 0-2 counts, which obviously were the opposite here in 2-0. Opposing hitters are just hitting 0.65 against him with a 213 OPS. 0-2 is where you don't want to be. 2 strikes, he's very good. So, see something early that you like, go hack it. Probably a good approach here for the Rangers.
He sneaks that one in and makes it 2-1. Odor working on a 5-game hitting streak. Been a good road trip for him. Chases that one, and the count evens at 2-2. He wasn't happy with himself.
You could almost see the frustration mid-swing there from Rougned Odor. You saw the 4-seam fastball. That one will stay a little straighter, but that was a 2-seamer. Look at the life at the end of this pitch. He probably thought it was a 4-seamer on the corner, and he knew immediately that it was too late once he started that swing.
So 2 balls, 2 strikes. And the big pitch to Odor, and he swings and misses strike 3. So the inning is done.
Barrios with a couple of strikeouts. Rangers leave a pair on the top of the first. And now Bartolo Colon ready to go to work. Twins come to bat for the first time today. We take a look at their starting lineup. 33-40 for the year. They're 8 games back of Cleveland. Mauer, Eddie Rosario, and Eduardo Escobar at the top of the order. Brian Dozier, Logan Morrison, and Robbie Grossman in right field. And then at the bottom of the order, it's Kepler, Adrianza, and Bobby Wilson, the former Ranger, doing the catching. Bartolo Colon, 4 wins, 4 losses, and a 4.91 ERA, and he's right in there with strike 1 to Joe Mauer. This is Colon's 14th start of the year. Rangers have also used him twice out of the bullpen. He's ahead 0-2.
Take a look at the pitch arsenal for Bartolo Colon. If you watch Bartolo pitch, you're not going to be surprised by this. 65% two-seam fastballs, another 16% on the four-seam fastball. You will see the changeup, the slider as well. Between him and Barrios, there's a lot of fastballs today in this game. Different fastballs, nearly 10 miles an hour apart on velocity, but a lot of fastball usage nonetheless.
Mauer grounds out to second base, 1 away.
Take a look at the Rangers defense, which is delivered to you by New Braunfels this afternoon. It's Chu, DeShields, and Mazzara in the outfield for the Rangers. And in that infield, Beltre, Profar, Odor, Ronald Guzman, and for the second time in his career, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is the starting catcher.
Eddie Rosario now the hitter. And he takes strike 1. So early on, Colon able to shave off some of the edges of the strike zone here, at least to Mauer and Rosario. Rosario 7th in the league with that .317 average, but he rolls over on one weakly to first. And Guzman makes it close, but able to stick that long leg in there for out number 2.
Well, Bartolo Colon comfortable here in Minnesota, at least in his last start at Target Field. That was, at least the last time we saw him, I should say, at Target Field, was in a Minnesota Twins uniform, and he absolutely dominated the Rangers with the great usage of the two-seam fastball. You see him elevating there against Adrian Beltre. Quite the game for the Big Sex. He was only 44 back then, a little bit younger for Bartolo Colon, but a complete game. Was that shutout? No runs, is that right? Remember? I can't remember. Maybe it was 1 run. Wasn't it 1 run?
That's a really good question.
Thank you. That's what I do. I ask good questions because I don't have the answer. But I think I'm going to say 1 run is my guess, if I remember correctly. But a CG from
That's
Bartolo.
the part that stuck out.
Yeah.
Eduardo Escobar, the hitter now.
I don't think it was a shutout.
One strike pitch in there. Foul tip makes it 0-2. So Colon doing a great job of getting ahead of these Twins hitters here early on.
Told you it was 4 runs.
Is that right? 4 runs.
Yeah.
That I definitely would not have guessed.
That's pretty difficult to do these days. Give up 4 and throw a complete game, but only threw 106 pitches in that game as well. He was cruising along against the Rangers. That was back in August of last year.
Well, one thing I do remember, I just remember being very impressed by the fact that he seemed totally unflappable, and he was pitching with really good rhythm that day.
Yeah.
I mean, he would get it and go, had a great idea what he wanted to do, and executed beautifully, as he just did right there to Escobar, striking him out and completing a 1-2-3 bottom of the first. We go to the second inning, no score. Hey, Carter Blood Care and the Texas Rangers are teaming up to save lives. Give blood on Monday, July 2nd, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Globe Life Park. You get a tour, T-shirts, and 2 Rangers tickets. Sign up today. CarterBloodCare.org. All right, second inning, Joey Gallo leading things off here. Gallo, Kiner Falefa, and Guzman against Jose Barrios. And Gallo takes a mighty cut at this one and pops it straight up in the air near first. Mauer puts it away for out number 1. Now Isaiah Kiner Falefa, our TXU Energy power player to watch. And he's got a little 5-game hitting streak going right now. 7 for 19 on the streak. With some extra base hits mixed in there as well. 4 RBIs. And today, catching his second big league game.
I really like what the Rangers decided to do here with Kiner Falefa and how they're using him as a catcher. Originally, he was supposed to catch Mendez, but ended up catching Austin Bibbins Dirks instead. Austin, a guy not overpowering stuff, really good command, kind of moves it in and out. So he should be relative, I don't say easy to catch, but maybe less difficult than your average big league pitcher. Then you take Bartolo Colon. All those fastballs, really good command, just a little bit easier to catch, not as much of a challenge as say maybe a power arm that maybe misses spots once in a while, because that's where the real challenge can come for a catcher. So I think as we see him start to get behind the plate with some regularity, the idea of giving him maybe some guys that are slightly easier to catch is a pretty smart play.
He strikes out here. 2 gone in the second inning. Let's hear from Leslie.
Well, Jeff Bannister liked the fact that he was catching today for Colon, because basically Colon is an experienced pitcher. He's capable of calling his own game. And the other thing he saw from Isaiah the other night was he caught two of the toughest guys to catch out of the bullpen. He caught Diekman, Claudio, Leclerc. So he was able to show that he could catch some movement and their deception, and he has a lot of confidence in him, guys.
It's a good point, too, right? What happened at the back end? Because, yes, I believe Austin a little bit easier to catch, but those bullpen arms, a lot of swing and miss there, a lot of live stuff. Obviously, Claudio a little bit different from the angle that he comes in with all the movement, and he seemed to pass that challenge with flying colors. So that certainly is encouraging. I don't know what the future is. I mean, obviously, it's way early to tell, or even what the plan is, what even the best case scenario in the Rangers' minds is for Kiner Falefa as a catcher. Is it just once in a while, but more of a utility guy? I mean, he's such a good third baseman. He's got so much value defensively around the field. Do you keep him as your third catcher, but then at times you can have him as your backup catcher, right? If you, depending on what's going on with your roster at times, there's a pretty good amount of options that we really haven't seen before at this level.
Off the plate, 2-2 to Guzman. Yeah, it definitely it will be interesting. I mean, if let's say he is just your backup, right? So you have your frontline guy, and then you have him as your backup. Is there so much to do for a backup that playing, you know, nearly every day elsewhere on the diamond would be hard? Because I mean, they are catching a lot of bullpens and maintaining a lot of work out there, you know, before the games with guys. So I don't know if there's a lot of wear and tear to that prohibits, let's say, a backup catcher from doing a whole lot of everyday work.
Well, sure, and the backup catcher goes down to the bullpen late in the game, right? There's only one bullpen catcher down there in Josh Frazier that's with the team all the time. But more often than not, your backup guy will go down there late, or who's ever sitting that day, to, you know, in case you have to have double barrels, right? You need a lefty and a righty up. Well, more often than not, your catcher's down there, your catcher who's not playing. So I don't know. This is new. I can't remember a time we ever saw a legitimate utility guy that could also be your number 2 catcher, potentially.
Well, back-to-back strikeouts for Barrios in the second inning. He works through the Rangers in order. We played 1.5, no score. Go to the bottom of the second inning. Brian Dozier, Logan Morrison, and Robbie Grossman for the Twins. And Bartolo Colon, who was spot on in the first inning, back to work. That's the first pitch right there that he has thrown outside of the strike zone. He was 10 for 10 in that first inning.
Pretty amazing. That's what he does. You mentioned that rhythm he had when he threw that complete game here against the Rangers last year. In that game, Brian Dozier hit 2 home runs. Let's make sure that doesn't happen.
Dozier just 1 hit so far in the series. And he's struggled lately for the Twins, a 121 average in the last 17 games. It's outside, 2-1. Dozier, the guy they count on as a very big part anchoring this offense. cleanup hitter today. And he pops this one up out into right field. Long run for Mazzara, who was shaded way over towards center field, but he gets there. One away. So Bartolo Colon and our Kubota power stats. Last 2 starts against the Twins. Combined for 13 innings, no runs. He won both games, 14 strikeouts, 3 walks, and a 174 batting average against. So he's been very good against Minnesota. First pitch swinging. Morrison hits this one well out to right field, and that one is high off the wall. Morrison has a long single. Just missed a home run. Instead, all he has is a base hit.
That was really well played by Nomar Mazzara in right field. They have kind of unusual situation here. You're going to see this pitch, 2-seam fastball, caught a little bit too much of the plate. Morrison, of course, hit a home run yesterday, so maybe he's starting to field a little bit. But you got the padded wall, and then you got the brick, and then you have the limestone that kind of hangs over with the flowers. But you almost have to play it like it's the Green Monster. But what is really difficult is when you get that one that's caught in between, you're not sure if it's going to hit the wall, you're not sure if it's going to hit the padding. If it's the padding, it's probably going to die, obviously, a lot more than bouncing off that brick. But Nomar played it perfect. I'd like to see projected distance of that single.
Right.
Because it was a line shot, and there's 365 in the gap, but you think about where that ball would have landed, I'd say at least 370 feet. Do you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, for sure, 370. I mean, the marker on the wall just to the left is 365. You figure that thing's up a good 20 feet. Still traveling pretty well. Didn't have a very high trajectory. Yeah, I'd say closer to 380, 390.
Yeah, it came in 364. I'm going to disagree with that.
Joke.
Yeah. I mean, you know, assuming that 365 is right at the base, that ball hit halfway between the padding and that second part.
All right. So the ball that he banged off the wall there would not quite have hit the wall right there, like several feet to the left.
Yeah, and yeah. I mean, it's probably inaccurate. It's tough. They take the. I'm assuming they take the velocity of the ball, the angle in which it's going, and then try to measure from the base of the wall, or do they just try to measure from home plate? I don't know, but yeah, I would say it's definitely was further than 364.
Can't trust any of it. Morrison off first, and the 2-1 to Grossman. Oh, there's a strike.
Well, you're wrong, Dave. Don't argue with science. So check this out. This ball hit right there at 104 miles an hour and 364 feet. You're disputing that?
Yeah. I also own a bridge you might find compelling. For the right amount of money, I'd let it go. Grossman, I think some confusion on that call. Yeah, it was right there at the bottom of the strike zone. You're out. Grossman was just going to stay there and see if he could coax it into a full count.
Now, do you think he lost track of the count, or he disagreed with the pitch?
I think he disagreed with the call.
Let's see. It's close. I don't know. He's looking in the outfield as if the second base umpire kind of overrule him and say, no, actually, that was a ball. But at least he's smiling and laughing and enjoying his Sunday, not getting angry just yet.
Oh, there it is. So it starts. Max Kepler.
It was the diabolical smile that he threw out there. It wasn't a sincere, I thought that was funny, that call that you made right there, smile.
Then the helmet, and then an expletive. A 1-0 pitch down the middle.
So it was interesting when Leslie was talking earlier about Bartolo Colon pitching and being a veteran and calling his own game. I'm kind of interested to watch Isaiah Kiner-Falefa today to see how many times he doesn't put the fastball down. Right? You look at the numbers, of course, with Bartolo. We showed you those in the open. 80% of the time, it's a fastball. It could be the 1 or the 2. See the wiggle there? That means the 2-seam fastball as opposed to the 4-seam fastball. So some guys are different. But the most common is what you just saw right there. So you wiggle your index finger around in a circle. That means sinker. If you just go solid, they call it a changeup. Not bad. And Bartolo said, you know what? I like that idea, young man.
1-1 pitch. There's a foul ball.
So that's one.
Okay, so
where he doesn't put the fastball down.
But I kind of wanted to ask you this because, you know, we say this with some regularity. Certain veteran pitchers, you know, well, he likes to call his own game. And it was said today. Well, yeah, Bart's a veteran guy. He'll basically call his own game. But he's not. I mean, Kiner-Falefa is putting down the signals. So what are we talking about?
Point being is that Isaiah is not going to stress about putting the signs down. He has an idea what he thinks Bartolo will want to do, but if Bartolo shakes him off, it's not going to be, an argumentative situation where maybe we sit there and say, well, he's getting frustrated because Bartolo's not doing what he wants him to do. Well, that's nice.
Oh, strike 3 called right on the inside corner. Third strikeout for Bartolo Colon.
The two-seam fastball is just amazing from Bartolo Colon. That is a ball the entire way. Look at that late movement, just hitting a spot for called strike 3.
Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. So far, so good. 2 scoreless innings. Delano DeShields leading things off for the Rangers here, and he takes a strike from Jose Barrios. Both starters looking pretty sharp here in the first 2 innings. Delano takes another strike. So just like that, we'll have to battle back from behind here 0-2.
Yeah, and really tough against Barrios, as I mentioned. Just an 0.65 batting average with that 0-2 count. And that's a pretty good curveball right there. And for Delano, he's been really good against lefties this year. Look at his splits. They're pretty contrasted. 345 against lefties this year, but just 188 so far against the righties.
And he strikes out swinging. That's a 5th strikeout for Barrios, 1 time through the order. Time for a Chevy game break. Let's check in with Rick Renner. All right, thanks, Rick. Nothing doing here early on. Barrios pretty sharp. Of his 5 strikeouts, 4 of them swinging, and now Shin-Soo Choo, and he's about 2.5 feet off the plate to Choo there. Not going to give him a chance to ambush him again, and now brings it in a little closer, but still wide in the count 2-0. Choo jumped on the first pitch of the game and blasted it almost out of the ballpark. Instead, it ended up being a double to left center.
And this is what Choo has done. He's done it well. Check this out. Opposite field slugging. Some big names there. J.D. Martinez, Eric Hosmer. How about Brandon Crawford sneaking in there as well? But that's extra base hits the other way. Home runs, doubles. We've seen Choo do that now back-to-back games, but just something he has been doing all year. A good testament to what kind of hitter he is.
Also helped him now to reach in 37 straight. And he takes a close strike.
Yeah, I heard something about hitting up the middle, where sometimes you get guys that get really frustrated with that phrase and say, oh, keep the ball in the middle of the field. It doesn't mean that's where you're actually trying to hit the ball. It just means that you see Escobar going all the way from third base now to second base. But it means it's just the approach of trying to stay in the middle of the field, and more importantly, just keeping your bat in the zone longer.
There's ball 4.
Common misconception, I think, when you hear something like that. It's, oh, my coach or my team, they want me to hit the ball in the middle of the field. It's not so much that you want the ball to go there. It's just that you want to be thinking that way, because what that does, the way that Chu swings, the way that Mazzara swings, Adrian, Elvis, your bat is just in the zone much longer when you're thinking that way. I tell my little guy all the time, think left center. The ball isn't necessarily going to go there. I don't care where it goes, but if you take that kind of swing, you'll be in the zone a lot longer and a lot tougher to strike out.
Well, I heard a story about Paul Molitor during batting practice.
It's not true.
Oh, shoot. There's the Hall of Famer. Yeah, somebody used to tell these weird stories about him trying to hit the L screen and then the screen back of second.
Well, that part is true. The screen at second. I thought it was all L screen. So tell kids that for about a decade. I did a game. I did a national game. It was the Angels game against the Twins, and had a chance to talk with him. Sat in his office, and I was kind of going through all that. And he looked at me and he's like, "No, that's not true." Darn it. Well, I'm still going to tell that story anyway to kids, because it's a good one. Especially in this era.
Pop foul back out of play by Profar.
I do think that's an important thing for coaches of young ball players, parents to understand. Yes, we're talking about a lot of fly balls in the big leagues, getting the ball in the air. That is not for little kids. You don't want to be uppercutting. Joey Gallo is a good example. How does he get the ball in the air? He tries to hit down and through the ball and drive it out to center field. He's not taking a big uppercut and trying to get the ball in the air. He's trying to create backspin with more of a level swing. That's how you get the ball in the air, to carry. If you uppercut, you're going to hit a lot of pop-ups, and you're going to have a lot of swings and misses.
One to Profar, who struck out looking in the first inning. And pulls this one on the ground. Foul, strike 2. Well, whatever you want to say about Molitor, you use Molitor sort of as your, I don't know, what your prop in your stories then, CJ, and just get good things across to young people and hitters. 3,319 career hits in the big leagues, Hall of Fame. Longtime Brewer, finished his career with the Twins. Played his college ball at the University of Minnesota. So a lot of ties here. There you go.
And he was never a huge home run hitter, but he was a guy that was a really great hitter first. We talk about this with Elvis all the time, Jose Altuve, and then started adding some power later in his career. 22 home runs, which was a career high for him in his age 36 season. He wasn't a guy that was necessarily thinking about home runs, but he was a guy that could spray the field. Lots of doubles, lots of hits, multiple seasons with 200+ hits. That's the progression for me that still works. A little bit more power, obviously, in the game today because of how strong guys are. Going up against that powered pitching, the pitchers certainly help out as well on the home runs. The way that he did it, that approach, go look at his stats from 1978 all the way through 1998. And you'll see that power started coming a little bit later, not really until he became 30 years old.
Profar strikes out for a second time. 2 away.
Well, mention the breaking ball for Jose Barrios. It has been really good today. Take a look at this replay against Jurickson Profar. Look at the break, lateness. It's down. It's tight. It's not a big, huge curveball. It's just the tightness. And now that's 42 strikeouts on the curveball for Jose Barrios this season. That is the 3rd most in Major League Baseball. Charlie Morton, of course, we've seen him. He uses that curveball more than Barrios does, and he's kind of blowing away the field. But very impressive from the 24-year-old Barrios.
2 outs. Yeah, a little toss over there on Chu. You know, the other thing about Molitor was stolen bases. He hit for a high average. He had all those hits, but then the stolen bases as well. Zara pulls this one foul.
I told you my Molitor story, right? When he drilled me.
Drilled you?
I was at a start in Toronto in 1995, my rookie year. He hit a rocket right off the inside of my right thigh in the first inning. I picked it up and I threw him out, and I came back in the dugout. Sparky Anderson was my manager. He was like, "You're right." I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." He said, "Let me see it." And I pulled my pants down in the dugout, and I had this huge black and blue mark about 10 inches in circumference on the inside part of my leg. And he's like, "You're done." He took me out of the game. I was not wearing a cup.
Oh, boy.
And I immediately began wearing one from that moment on.
How many did you face him additional times in your career, or was that kind of it?
Probably. I mean, you know, so 98 was his last year.
Right.
I probably saw him a couple of times in 95 and 96 as he was in Minnesota. So there might have been a couple of more times when I was first breaking into the American League. That hurt a little bit. StatCast had it at 110 off the bat.
Traveled 60 feet.
That's pretty much it.
Barrios has a strikeout going today. He had 2 in the first inning, 2 in the second inning, 2 so far here in the third. Had 97 strikeouts and 96 innings coming in. Righty's offering. Swing and a miss. He strikes out the side in the third. We have played 2.5 so far this afternoon. Still no score. Opening that series against the Padres back home. Oh, it'll feel good to be back home. And the first 15,000 fans get a Rangers tumbler courtesy of Academy Sports and Outdoors. And you can get your tickets at TexasRangers.com. Well, Bartolo Colon wasting no time, ready to go here in the third inning. A-Ray Adrianza, the shortstop, leading it off. Takes low, and it's 1-1.
So it was interesting. You and I were just talking real quick about Barrios against the Rangers. He had the 1 start last year. He only went 5 innings, but he ended up getting the win. But in that game, the Rangers put a 5 spot on him in the first inning. And he cruised for 4 more, and the Rangers ended up losing that game by a score of 6-5. Beltre and Gallo both hit home runs in that first inning against Jose Barrios, but he looks locked in today.
Yeah, definitely a different looking guy today than the one we saw last year with 7 strikeouts in the first 3 innings. Adrianza, meanwhile, we saw him in the opener Friday night. He was batting 5th on Friday, went 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. Pokes this one foul, keeps the at bat going. Bartolo, 3 strikeouts in his first 2 innings so far. That is not usually a big part of his game, at least not anymore. you can see, he's been filling the strike zone with a great deal of regularity here this afternoon. And a swing and a miss. There's another strikeout, number 4 on the afternoon.
Bartolo doesn't want to get left behind with the 24-year-old Barrios getting the swings and misses. Bartolo doing the same as well. Good changeup there. We've seen a few more of those, I think, than we're used to seeing. Mentioned with Bartolo using that pitch 11% of the time this year, and it's got the highest batting average against of any pitch that he throws, 371 coming into this game. But it's also the pitch in which he generates the most swings and misses.
Next pitch, line down to third base. Beltre right there. Bobby Wilson a quick out, 2 away. Gives us a moment now for word from our friends at Southwest Kia.
At Southwest Kia, we've made car buying easy. $250 down delivers, monthly payments $250 a month or less. SouthwestKia.com.
One time through the batting order, Bartolo Colon with 4 strikeouts, allowed 1 hit. Now we'll look at Joe Mauer for a second time today. Mauer grounded out in the first inning. 273 average coming into play today for the 14-year veteran. A little bit like his manager, Paul Molitor, who we were discussing last thing. A lot of local ties for Mauer. Grew up here, a high school standout, and has never left.
Was he not scheduled to go, or was he going to be the quarterback in Minnesota? Was that part of his story as well? Does that sound right? Wasn't he a dual athlete?
For Mauer?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I thought so. I thought that was part of it. Should probably look at that before the game starts.
There's a strike.
I just assume, I guess I give you more credit than I probably should.
I think that's a good rule of thumb.
Yeah, he was quarterback in college, but it wasn't going to be Minnesota.
Well, what was it going to be?
He was going to go play at Florida State. That's what it was. He was the #1 ranked high school football player in the country, and he was going to leave here, not go to Minnesota, go to Florida State.
Lines out softly to Odor to complete another 1-2-3 third inning for Bartolo Colon. Adrian Beltre will lead things off for the Rangers when we come back.
For the Rangers. Well, he had 3 hits yesterday, and Jeff Bannister said afterwards he likes the way his Hall of Famer is moving right now. The fact that he's getting his legs underneath him, that's something that the strength and conditioning coaches have been really working with him. A lot of leg work. He said he ran out the infield single, guys. Of course, he had the home run. That's all a product of that when he has his legs underneath him, he's at his best.
Without a doubt. No, and that's an issue, of course, we always worry about that with Adrian as he gets older and the issues that he's had over the last couple of years. And you talk about the legs all the time, with any athlete. But if you don't have them under you, if everything is not feeling right, it's so hard to play catch up during the season. And it's one of the biggest challenges. So if you're dealing with a calf or a hamstring at some point, it slows you down. Then you're trying to make those gains of getting not only healthy, but to the strength that you want to be able to carry you through an entire season. And the older you get, the more of a challenge that becomes.
Barrios tries to tempt him off the plate. Beltre takes 1-2 the count. 314 average coming in. That average continuing to climb. He had a base hit in the first inning. And it looked like it certainly had a chance to score Chu from second base. Good play by Rosario out there in left field. Prevented that from happening, and the Rangers would ultimately leave runners on the corners.
So there's a couple different ways you look at that, right? You say, okay, well, you got a good pitcher. Should you be aggressive any chance you get? Maybe you're a little bit more aggressive when you're facing a guy like Barrios, who's been really good as of late. He's having a nice year, but especially this month has been very good and kind of locked in. Do you sit there and be aggressive, knowing and thinking you may not get very many chances to wave guys around, or do you look at it and say, well, it's the first inning, we have him on the ropes, let's make him throw some more pitches? And these are all the things that have to go through a third base coach's mind while they're making those calls. And it's not just about whether or not you think he could make it, but what else is going on in the flow of the game as far as making that decision. Not an easy job. It seems so easy when you're watching a game on TV or we're sitting up here. We have a ridiculous view. We should never judge a third base coach because we get to see everything at once from such a great angle that they don't get to see. It's tough. It is a difficult job.
I think one of the things that happened on that play was that initially he was waving him with some gusto and then was able to reverse that decision. And I think maybe even more challenging to be able to do that, to execute that. And that in part is Beasley's credit for being able to read the situation quickly as it unraveled in front of him, but also credit to Chu for being able to pick it up and make the proper response to the stop sign there at the last moment. Inside. And yeah, he didn't go. He asked for the appeal. Chad
That's
Whitson
interesting.
said no.
Well, because of course, in that situation, Adrian does not want the home plate umpire to call that swing, but he almost encouraged the umpire to check it. I don't know if he would have necessarily.
There's ball 4, so Beltre walks to start the 4th inning.
It was a good at bat. He fouled off some really tough pitches after getting down 0-2. 3 foul balls in that bat, and it took a couple of tough sliders and fastballs to get that walk and maybe get the Rangers started here. I should say curveball. It's so the breaking pitch that he has is so hard and such sharp break on it. For a guy that throws low to mid 90s, you would expect a curveball to kind of be upper 70s, maybe touching 80. With that breaking ball for Barrios will average around 82. That's why you get caught in between a little bit when you look at it. Is the slider, is it a curveball? For the guys that throw the knuckle curve, those are usually harder velocities.
He's issued 2 walks so far today, allowed 2 hits. Also has 7 strikeouts. Odor pops this one foul again over to the left side. 0-2 the count on Rugi. Average up over 220 for Odor. And he made the point earlier today in the first inning. He's got a little hitting streak going. In fact, it's been a good road trip for Odor. And the home run in Kansas City. He's driven in a few runs. One comes way in on him. 1-2 the count. Bobby Wilson, part of 2 years with the Rangers. 2015 and 2016. And he is more or less the backup here. So they had Chris Jimenez in camp this year too. Another former Ranger. Had him with the ball club last year. Upstairs. 2-2 to Odor.
And they really miss Jason Castro. We talked about that on the DL right now. When you think about their ability to throw runners out, they definitely missed that arm. Castro 6 of 15 against opposing base stealers, but the other catchers here combined just 5 for 33. Castro was doing a really nice job of throwing out runners. Yeah, he was the guy, Castro, actually interesting to me, when JD Martinez first started talking about the changes, when he went from being a guy that was really struggling at the big league level to becoming a big hitter, good hitter. He said he would watch video of Jason Castro when they were together in Houston. I thought that was interesting. Then he moved on to like Miguel Cabrera and some other names that you might expect Albert Pujols. But he started, he said, by watching some video of Jason Castro. Something about his swing and being a little flatter and longer in the zone. I thought that was
flatter and longer in the zone. I thought the whole thing that JD Martinez was trying to accomplish was the launch angle.
Don't let him fool you. Go look at his numbers. He may feel like he's hitting the ball in the air more, but launch angle will tell you otherwise.
Odor continuing to battle, lifts this one high in the air out to center field. Kepler wants to handle it himself. He does. One away. Well, we mentioned this is the final game on this road trip. Heading home after this one, a progressive upcoming schedule. You'll see it's a 3-team homestand. Padres, White Sox, and Astros. Just 2 of the Astros, and it is the final time this year that Houston comes through town. That long homestand gives way to a bear of a road trip into the All-Star break. Detroit, Boston, and Baltimore on the schedule.
What do you mean a bear?
That's a long road trip.
What are you going to be doing during that road trip?
Listen, man.
Not taking on the bear. Is that what it was? You were intimidated by the road trip?
Just say,
you got scared?
It's what that is nothing more than an observation on my part that is a big road trip.
You sounded intimidated a little bit.
I'm not scared of anything.
That'll be me and Tom. In those games, will be 9 of the 10 that you have to bear deal with me doing play-by-play. One of those games is a Fox game. The Saturday game will be the national game in Baltimore.
Oh, you had to call in a little help, did you? Gallo pulls this one foul. 0-2.
10 in a row. That's just sounds like a lot of games to do play-by-play. That is a bear. And then the All-Star break. Getting here pretty quickly.
Rios delivers high, 1-2. So after just pounding the strike zone and really seemed like he had the Rangers guessing a little bit there in those first 3 innings. Not quite as overpowering here in the 4th inning. Long at bat, walked Beltre, then Odor worked him for a while before finally flying out. Now he gets Gallo looking. 2 away here in the 4th inning. Me and my big mouth.
Yeah.
So Kiner Falefa, we were talking about him as catcher. This was how the game ended on Wednesday. Isaiah, whoa! Sheesh, that's close to the face.
That was incredibly close. It was a nice moment for him to get that first caught stealing, but Jake Diekman did not realize that the play was happening, and part of that was because it was the delayed steal. And so nobody thought that there was going to be a play, and so Deke had put his head down, and luckily Isaiah didn't hit it. That was really close.
They made up afterward.
They did. Jake admitted he knew that it was his fault for putting his head down. I think everyone was a little rattled there for a second after the fact. Scares you a little bit. But what a cool moment for Isaiah Kiner Falefa to throw out a big league base runner, not just to do it, but then to finish off a game. That was pretty cool.
Now he's attempting to drive in the first run of this game. Beltre, the man out there at first base, and he takes a strike. 1-2 the count.
Fastball command is looking really good now against these last 2 hitters from Barrios. You mentioned some of the struggles he was having. Whatever adjustment he needed to make, he's made it pretty quickly.
They set up on the outside edge. Boy, that one sweeps way away. Good block there by Bobby Wilson.
Just had to do a double take on the pitch count. He's got 76 pitches through 3 2/3. As you'll see, this breaking ball, it's a really nice job on the block there, especially with the runner on base. It might not be long for this game. You see it there. There's been no quick innings. The second inning was his best at 13. My goodness. Might be 5 and dive this afternoon.
I don't think the Rangers will mind.
No.
2-2 pitch, and Kiner Falefa swings right through it. Another strikeout for Barrios. Continues to pile those up. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. 0-0.
T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
No score. Bottom of the 4th inning. 2, 3, and 4 hitters coming up for the Minnesota Twins. Bartolo Colon, 4 strikeouts to the first 3 innings, and he's allowed just 1 base runner. The 1 hit to Logan Morrison. Eddie Rosario grounded out to first base. He's 0 for 1. Rosario, pretty clearly the hottest and best bat the Twins have going these days, and he lines this one into center field. That's a base hit. So Minnesota has the lead man on in the 4th. Mentioned that we come home after this one, and the Padres are in town Monday through Wednesday. And Wednesday is another Texas Chili Company $1 hot dog night. Final game of that series against the Padres. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. Hot dogs for $1 each. Saw Rosario aboard. Eduardo Escobar struck out in the first inning. Average dips just a smidge now, down to 291 for him. Rosario with some decent speed, so Colon will no doubt continue to keep an eye on him. Final game here in Minneapolis. Final game of this road trip. Rangers have won every game on this roadie. Last time that they have swept a road trip of at least 6 games, you got to go back to 1991. Good 28 years. And interestingly enough, that road trip, 3 wins in Minnesota and then in Seattle. Swing and a miss, 1-1 on Escobar. So there you see it. And then, of course, a couple of years prior to that, in Milwaukee and Detroit, they won 6 games, 3 in Milwaukee, 3 in Detroit. That next one there, the 1977, was a 3-city trip, 2 games in each city.
Scheduled?
I don't know if it was scheduled, if there were rainouts or how that worked, but they were at Baltimore, Cleveland, and Toronto. They went 2-0, all 3 stops.
It's like an NBA schedule.
Really, it's you almost figure that had to have included a rainout or 2.
Yeah, strange. I'm trying to think, was there anything going on with the schedule in '77 that wasn't a strike year, wasn't a shortened season, or the schedule would get wacky like that?
Kelowna had a ball and 2 strikes on Escobar. And that one in the dirt. Oh, Rosario's off the bag. The throw down there, and they got him. Kiner Falefa guns down Rosario, who just got way too far off the base. I'm not sure if he thought that one got away or what.
We got aggressive after the ball went in the dirt. He took a really big secondary lead. You're going to get a really nice look at it right here. Watch this. The ball's in the dirt, a couple of extra hops. Realized that Isaiah did a nice job of blocking it, and he was going to be a dead duck if he went to second, but good heads-up play. It's a good break on that ball. Look at this. Jump down, get it. Good awareness, and a nice throw to first base. It's a misread by Rosario, and a good heads-up play by Kiner Falefa. That's big.
Boy, a nice pickup there to get that out. As the count goes to 2-2 on Escobar. And he lines this one out to right field. That one now may have even saved more than just one base runner. Because that's a double for Escobar. And who knows? Rosario might well have scored on that play.
We talk about Escobar, 33 doubles now, leading all of Major League Baseball. 2-seam fastball. They were trying to go front door, right, looking for that called third strike, but instead leaked back over the plate, and Nomar was unable to cut it off and turn this into an easy double with the speed of Escobar.
So now it's Brian Dozier who led off the second inning. Bartolo made Escobar run a little bit there. Nobody covered the base. This ball hit on the ground, third base. Beltre looks the runner back, and there are 2 away.
Kids announcing day. I didn't notice the first time I noticed that. It was a little loud.
I think he said Logan Morrison. And here is Logan Morrison, so right on schedule. 2 outs now. Although I think Guzman might have thought there were 3 after that play at first base. He ran about halfway back.
Did he really?
Dugout. Fly ball out there to left field. Chu in perfect position, and the inning is done. 2 hits for the Twins, but they leave a man. We've played 4 complete, still no score.
pitcher's duel and a good one. 45-year-old Bartolo Colon doing what he does best, 72% strikes so far, and racking up some strikeouts, which you don't necessarily always see him do. 4 so far, but Jose Barrios doing much of the same for him so far through his 4 innings. He's allowed only 2 hits, and he's got the good breaking ball working for him today. 9 strikeouts for Barrios through his 4 innings. His career best is 11. Well, he's just 2 away from tying a career high. Those starters comparisons. It's good baseball right there. Just 2 walks to 13 strikeouts.
Ronald Guzman struck out in the 2nd inning. So he's 0 for 1. And he takes this one, fouls it, or rather pops it straight up behind home plate. That might be playable. It is. Wilson makes the catch. Initially, I thought, well, send it back into the seats. Nope. Stayed in. And so now here's Delano DeShields.
Mentioned the 11 strikeouts for Jose Barrios. He's done that 3 times. 2 times last year, and then again this year. And out of 2 of the 3 against the Chicago White Sox, and all 3 of those have been here at Target Field.
He puts the first one right in there for a strike to Delino.
So if you remember that first at bat, Delino has struggled a little bit on sliders away with righties. That's been one of the issues. He's been pretty good on balls in, but Barrios threw that one fastball that really tied Delino up and in. We'll see now with 2 strikes if he decides to go back to that. It's a pretty filthy fastball. Usually use that phrase, dirty or filthy, usually for a breaking ball that's got some really sharp break or split finger. You don't say it too often for a fastball, but he's thrown a couple of filthy fastballs today.
And what makes him filthy?
Well, it's the life on, it's the movement, the way that what it does to an opposing hitter's swing, where he just ties you up and end up taking a really bad hack at it. I think that's usually when we use those terms, just something so nasty and hard and difficult to deal with. Yeah. Kind of like you. I'm the same.
Yeah, it can be filthy.
Here.
Here's 2-2. And there's that breaking ball in there for strike 3 called. So DeShields goes down on strikes for the 2nd time today.
It was a front door breaking ball, and Delano had to have that fastball in the back of his mind based on his first at bat. He didn't want to necessarily throw it there. He was trying to go away, but because of the tight break and the hard velocity, it's difficult to pick up. It's a good pitch.
It was a filthy replay from up top there like that. Love that. It was nasty. Here's Jew.
Use it in all areas of your life.
The bratwurst I had today was ball line shot right down to first base, and Mauer steals it out of the air, so they finally retired Chu. It's a 1-2-3 5th inning for Jose Barrios. We're halfway there this afternoon. Neither team has scored. This one, Anthony DeSclafani, pitcher. That's a grand slam right there for the Reds. First time since 1959 that a Reds pitcher has hit a slam. Bob Perky. This ball hit well. We start at the bottom of the 5th inning over the head of DeShields, and Grossman into second base with a leadoff double.
This ball was well struck. We saw Grossman strike out in his first at-bat. Wasn't happy with the call. He gets himself a first pitch, 2-seam fastball, some good movement, but caught a little bit too much plate. Grossman hit this ball real hard to center field. So now a leadoff double in what has been a scoreless game up to this point. The Twins had the leadoff hitter on last inning, but Isaiah Kiner-Falefa was able to pick Eddie Rosario off.
First pitch to Kepler, misses for a ball. Kepler struck out looking in the second. Beltre might be moderately concerned that Kepler would try to bunt. He was up on the inside of that cutout at third base. Protecting against, I guess, that eventuality.
Well, the potential bunt, and then you also have Jurickson Profar, who was holding the runner at second base. So there's a lot of room on the left side.
This one's hit to the left side, but in the air. A little pop up into foul ground, and Beltre has room. So Kepler sent back to the dugout, one away in the 5th. Time for a Chevy game break. Let's welcome it again, Rick Renner. How does Anthony DeSclafani not get that pinch hit right there?
That's what he was probably saying and trying to make his case to Jim Riggleman, I'm sure. And then Jim Riggleman said, well, this is why. That's amazing.
High fly ball center field. Adrianza put a charge into this one. DeShields is back, and he's got it. Tagging at second. Grossman will head to third. There are 2 out in this 5th inning. And Adrianza just missed that one.
It sounded pretty good off the bat. And I was trying to read Delano's body language and count on the fielders more than my own eyes in situations like this. When he looked back right there, I thought maybe it was going to get out of here, but Delano gets under it very easily and gets it in plenty of time. Well, I'm thinking the hitting coach of the Reds an extension right now. You got your pitchers launching for you. He must be doing something right.
Yep.
They're not helping though, so I'm still in favor of universal DH. You get moments like that and you're like, oh yeah, that I would miss that for sure. I'm not going to pretend I wouldn't.
Bobby Wilson takes a strike. Wilson, 9th place hitter, lined out in the 3rd inning. He's 0 for 1. And Colon trying to work around a base runner at third base. And this one in the air down the left field line, and it drops in for a base hit. Bobby Wilson drives in the first run of the game. Twins lead it 1-0.
Well, it was a pitch that was in. They wanted it in. It was elevated a little bit, and Bobby Wilson did a good enough a job to get some wood on this. He didn't hit it particularly hard. Chu had absolutely no chance. You see that thing just kind of die down as he was jammed a little bit, but the elevation on the pitch allowed him to get that ball into the outfield and get the Twins on the board.
Bit of a tough break right there for Bartolo, and now Joe Mauer 0 for 2. Takes a strike. A 1-0 game, bottom of the 5th inning. Mauer with 3 hits in the series, including a double. Hits this one in the air to left field, but Chu is right there. And the inning is done. But the Twins get the first run of the game. Bobby Wilson's RBI single takes us to the 6th inning with the Twins up 1-0. Well, Rangers and Padres tomorrow through Wednesday, and you can use that offer. Go to texasrangers.com/specials. Seen a lot of Rangers fans on this road trip in Kansas City, up here in Minneapolis. Been a good road trip so far. Won all 3 in Kansas City. On the first 2 here in Minneapolis. Rangers currently working on a 7-game winning streak. And they will send the 2, 3, and 4 batters this inning against Jose Barrios.
A good place to escape the heat. We had a 77-degree first-time temperature today. Lack of humidity. A lot of overcast weather here so far in Minnesota as well.
Bouncer second base. Profar retired quickly to start the 6th inning. No, Barrios has pitched awfully well. This first offering to Mazzara will be his 90th of the afternoon. There was a time about an inning ago we thought, hey, maybe he's 5 innings and gone, but he's kind of settled in a little bit now, and you could imagine him maybe pitching through a 7th inning.
Yeah, that 10-pitch 6th inning really helped for, or 5th inning I should say, helped for Barrios, and it looks like he's just been comfortable all day. That one little stretch where he had that longer inning, really strike zone seemed to get away from him just a little bit. He bounced back very quickly, and he's become a little bit more efficient since then. 10 strikeouts though to 2 walks, 1 away from his career high.
No balls, 2 strikes on Mazzara, who is flat out to left field and struck out swinging.
Yeah, Barrios is a good guy. He's got a live arm, but he's a good guy to look at and say, with everything that's going on in the game, it's not just about high-powered velocity. He's got a good fastball. Don't get me wrong. Good live fastball, good movement on his fastball, but it's the breaking ball that really makes all the difference, I think, for him, and the good command that he has shown. It doesn't have to be 96 to 98. It's got to be good feel and good speed differential, I think, helps on those pitches as well. You see that one at 83 miles per hour. The fastball's been 92 to 95. But it's the breaking ball at 80 to 84 that's making the big difference here. And he's a competitor too. He's a good kid. I've had a chance to talk to him a couple of times from Puerto Rico, and absolutely loves his country, and has talked about everything that happened with the hurricane and the opportunities to help out. He's got superstar written all over him from a personality standpoint. You can see with the stuff and the way he handles himself on the mound that he very well could be headed to superstardom.
Let's run the count full on Mazzara. And this one hit sharply on the ground right at the shortstop position. Escobar, though, the third baseman there, and throws him out, 2 away.
Well, weren't we just talking about that as far as will teams make an adjustment? And look where they're playing Nomar Mazzara right there against Jose Barrios. How many times have we seen that area open where he's hit ground balls to that side, especially with runners on base? So maybe a little bit of an adjustment here from the Twins based on what they've seen Nomar do over the last few games, because he hit that ball hard. He hit it where it was pitched, but they had a defender sitting right there.
Two away for Adrian Beltre.
Adrian gets the 3-man shift on the left side of the infield, the right-handed pull shift. I'd love to see those numbers, as you know, shifts are here to stay, but these right-handed pull shifts are still kind of creeping their way in, but we're seeing more and more of those lately.
Yeah, it's kind of like getting in the Wayback Machine and going back 10 years or so when you'd see these for left-handed hitters.
Foul ball jumped up, looked like it caught Adrian inside the knee.
At the time, it was somewhat novel, and then became pretty much a standard for most teams. And now you see these, which most of the times that's somewhat novel on a right-handed hitter. But who knows? A couple years from now, if we might not see a lot of that kind of a shift.
I think you're right. I mean, it's almost now to the point where if you don't shift, you'd almost look like a fool to some degree. I mean, there's teams, every one of them is involved one way or another. But I think one of the most interesting trends, we look at the Cubs as a team that we feel like is ahead of the curve. And pretty smart front office and manager, and they're one of the least shifting teams in all of Major League Baseball.
Beltre swings and misses and strikes out to end the 6th inning. Jose Rios locked in today. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Today in Minnesota, Twins lead 1-0. Look ahead, July 4th. It's a 6:05 first pitch. Astros and Rangers. Fireworks afterward. Go to TexasRangers.com to get your tickets. This one out over second base. In the right field, a base hit. We'll start the bottom of the 6th inning for Eddie Rosario, his second hit of the day.
Rosario really went down and got this pitch. First pitch sinker from Bartolo Colon below the zone, and he just kind of fillets it out into right field. Didn't hit it very hard. Let's see if Isaiah can pick him off again.
Exactly. Did that in the 4th inning, right before Escobar doubled. And this one bounces away from Kiner Falefa over to the Rangers dugout, and Rosario goes to second on the wild pitch. Well, when we saw Kiner Falefa catch on Wednesday in Kansas City, we hardly noticed him until the late innings. And it was just a little observation we made that he had been so quiet back there. Everything had been so simple and clean. It was pretty impressive. Threw out Hunter Dozier on the bases to end that game on Wednesday. Today, it's been, you know, it's been a little harder for him. He's had to work a little more. Now trots out there to talk to Colon. Well, I saw Doug Brocail in the clubhouse yesterday, and Austin Bibbins-Dirks and Jake Diekman. I said, well, what'd you guys think on Wednesday? Any thoughts on Kiner Falefa? And they were, you know, all very complimentary. And then I think it was Doug who pointed out, he said, you know, he had a 100% strike rate. And I said, well, what is that? And he said, well, you know, pitches that should be strikes were strikes 100% of the time the other day. I said, okay, so wait a minute. If it's thrown over the plate, he catches it, he gets credit, that's a strike, and whatever. He said, yeah. And he said, but if there's a pitch, let's say to a left-handed hitter that's an inch off the plate, and like that pitch right there, and at that pitch, let's say 65% of the time is called a strike, then he, that is to say Kiner Falefa, would have to get that called a strike to get credit for it. And if he didn't, that would go against him.
Even if it was a ball?
Yes, even if it was a ball.
That seems kind of unfair.
Well,
based on the umpire.
Yeah, right. And that is part of that was part of the argument. The umpire certainly goes a long way toward, your ultimate strike rate as a catcher on any given day. So it's one game is you can't take too much from it. But I said, well, how many hundreds have we had this year? Well, I don't think we've had any.
Really?
I said, that was the first 100 of the year? Strike rate by a catcher? And they said, yeah, I think so. So
we got an A.
So he got an A. It was a really good effort.
That's
I like the idea.
I love the idea. And it's interesting, though, that part of it, that idea that anything off the plate a couple of inches but is usually called a strike, or 60% of the time working against you, seems a little unfair as far as the grading system goes. But like with all of these different things that we use, whether it's a stat, a grading system, trying to rate defenders, whatever it may be, I don't know if any of them are perfect. But I do like that one. That's seems like a really good metric. Now that's proprietary to the Rangers, right? That's not a public stat that's out there anywhere. I don't think that you can find. But I certainly would like to get my hands on it somehow, some way.
Pop-up foul out of play. 0-2 the count on Dozier.
I still will rely, when it's all said and done, to talk about receiving. Your ability to do a nice job catching the ball, presenting strikes to umpires. I'll always count on scout's eyes over the numbers. It's a valiant effort to try to find numbers that will give you an idea, maybe point you in a certain direction. But what Jeff Bannister sees, what the pitchers see, what scouts that sit in the stands will see, or watching the game on TV, I still think that's going to give you your best information when it comes to this.
This ball hit well out to left field, but Chu was there. Dozier retired, one away.
Because that has been an area the last couple of years where people are really trying to find a way to define it. It's always existed in baseball. You knew which guys could catch well, which guys were good receivers, call the game, whatever it may be, but there was no number to put on it. So there's been almost like this race to come up with something. But it's interesting. I was talking to a former catcher who now has been both a coach and working in the front office, scouting, just done pretty much every baseball job after the game you possibly could do. And one of the guys that was rated high, I'm not going to name him, but he was like, no way. It was like, this guy was rated really high, and he's like, I'm telling you, this guy's one of the worst when it comes to receiving. I've watched enough games, a former catcher. I'm just telling you, the fact that he's rated as high as he is absurd. Of some of the public information that's out there. So I think they do, I don't know if it's not defensive run saved. I forgot there's a stat, there's a website out there that tracks it. And it's unfortunate. I would like to be able to trust all that information. Make our job a lot easier.
Logan Morrison fouls one off, 1-1. You got to tell us who this catcher is.
I would never. Still active. I would never do that. No way. Not going to happen. Could also be because I forgot his name. It's possible.
Rosario at second, Escobar at first. One out here. And Bartolo, boy, the pitch count's still very well in check. He was so efficient in the early innings. Did he go? Yes, he did. I'm surprised that Gorman needed help on that. Third base umpire Trip Gibson said, yeah, he absolutely went. 1-2 the count.
It's a pretty critical part of the game here for Bartolo Colon. So we'll take a look at this swing from Logan Morrison. Good look from the top to see whether or not he offered at that. It did appear that he did. He seemed a little surprised. The eye roll emoji. But this is important. Third time through. Forget about the pitch count for Bartolo. It's only 66. But right now, the runner in scoring position and going through the heart of the order for a third time for Bartolo is the bigger challenge. Third time through, he's allowed a 951 OPS this year. He's only faced one batter all year for a fourth time. So trying to get through this part of the order one last time would be, I think, something Jeff Bannister would certainly like to see, but gotta be careful here. A couple of good at-bats from both Morrison and Grossman, who's on deck.
2-2 pitch. That is outside, a full count now. Now, one thing could really help him here would be a ground ball. Rangers had that shift in the infield. It would not be your traditional looking double play ground ball if you got it. Might even be a challenging one for Profar. Let's say the ball went to Rugi out there at second base. Profar would have to kind of circle around. Bartolo taking a long look in. Foul ball. Stays 3-2.
You know Logan Morrison is having a tough year. Saw him hit a home run yesterday. Saw him hit that line drive. 364-foot single. Swing has looked a little bit better, so I always take the season numbers into account. But what has the guy been doing lately? And lately we've seen some good at-bats from the lefty.
Payoff pitch again. And that's strike 3 called. Morrison down looking. And there are 2 gone.
He's barking about it, but I thought this was a pretty good pitch. Let's take a look here on the replay. You know Bartolo loves to throw that thing front door. In the late movement, our Fox Tracks had it catching the inside corner, and that is a great look. That is paint by Bartolo Colon. He knows that he can't miss over the plate right now, and Logan Morrison a little frustrated with that call, but it was a good one.
Now 2 gone for Robbie Grossman. And he's swinging first pitch. Sends it into left field. That's a base hit. Rosario rounds third. He'll score. Well, Grossman drives in another run. And it's 2-0 Minnesota.
Take a look at this pitch here, and pretty well located away on the outside corner. You didn't see much depth on that pitch, a little bit more of the horizontal movement, and credit Grossman for doing a nice job of taking that the other way early and hitting a hard ground ball just past George Profar.
Southwest Airlines bullpen live look. Alex Claudio getting ready out there. 6th inning. Here's Max Kepler. And he's swinging away. Pops this one up along the third base line, and Beltre, boy, he had to navigate his way around Escobar to make the play. That was dicey. Inning over, though. Twins had a run. We go to the 7th inning, 2-0 Minnesota. The 7th inning, and a little reminder that next weekend, in fact Saturday, 8:05 game, White Sox and Rangers. The first 15,000 fans get a Rugi and Smokey the Horse bobblehead, courtesy of Golden Chick. Tickets at TexasRangers.com or 972 Rangers. Now Rugi Sans Horse will lead off this 7th inning. Odor, Gallo, Kiner Falefa. Down 2-0 to Jose Barrios. 24-year-old right-hander pitching well, and a bunt dropped down third baseline. Barrios bare hands, throws, and it's dropped at first. Mauer couldn't quite squeeze it. Odor is on to start the 7th.
Wow, that was almost an incredible play because that was a fantastic bunt. by Rougned Odor and a really smart play. But how about the athleticism of Barrios? I thought this was an easy hit, as you're going to see Rugi making it down the line. He would have been out, but Joe Mauer flat out dropped this. Watch this here. Watch how quickly he gets to this ball and the slide. What a smart play to slide and field that ball with his bare hand and make that throw. Watch it one more time here. My goodness. Wow. Joe Mauer's got to be frustrated after dropping that ball.
Very sure-handed as a general rule, but Odor on via the hit, and Gallo swinging for the fences. Joey 0 for 2 today, has popped up and struck out.
That was a great bunt. That was a really, really good bunt by Rougned Odor.
Odor has 1 stolen base this year in 6 tries. And Barrios, that pitch count now up over 100. Gallo with a mighty rip. 0-2 the count.
One more look at this bunt. Really nice job on the breaking ball away. But look at this thing right on the edge of the grass. It would have stayed fair. Man, that was some play. But pretty happy that Joe Mauer dropped it. I don't want to see that thing on highlights for the rest of the year, because you would have.
Foul away. Stays 0-2. Yeah, I was almost a little surprised that he touched it. I thought there was a small chance that that one would kick or roll foul. And there was no play for Wilson, no play for Escobar. And I thought, I wonder if he's racing over there and will realize, well, internal clock says I don't have much of a shot here. I'll just let it go. And then I didn't realize his internal clock operates a lot differently.
It's pretty good.
There's a swing and a miss. Gallo strikes out, 1 away here with the 7th. 12th strikeout.
Yeah, a new career high for Jose Barrios. Young career, and there's probably even bigger numbers in that arm.
One away. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, 2 strikeouts so far.
Looks like there'll be a chance here for Barrios to hit a new high in pitch count as well. You see him at 105. 109 is his career high. He did that last year against the White Sox. I feel like the White Sox keep popping up with him when you look at some of his career highs, strikeouts and everything else. You can see it. He's 6-1 against the White Sox in 7 career starts.
A little tapper back to the mound. Barrios to second one. The relay to first in time. That's a pretty nifty double play. 1-6-3. And it ends the top half of the 7th. They'll stand here and applaud. Also, they'll stand for God Bless America. We turn it over to Adam Abrams.
Please rise as we welcome 2018 Twins Audition winner, the New Rockford Cheyenne Men's Quintet, as they lead us in the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. And by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. Bartolo Colon out for the bottom of the 7th inning. Trailing 2-0. He gets the 8th and 9th place hitters to begin things here. And his first pitch to Adrianza lifted high in the air again to center field. Boy, he's taking some good swings, but that one will die well short of the warning track. One away in the 7th inning.
Yeah, you better take that swing to another ballpark. That's not going to fly here. I have a couple of home runs in Cincinnati today, but not at Target Field.
His previous at bat in the 5th inning, he took Delano right out to the wall, but 0 for 3 so far for Adrianza. Here is Bobby Wilson. Drove in a run in the 5th inning, the first run of the game, with his kind of bloop single into left field. He's also lined out to third. Right-handed batter, and he takes one on the corner for a strike. You mentioned earlier, this is the 3rd time through the order for Colon that he has faced a hitter 4 times only once this year.
Just one batter.
Yeah.
That's what I got on my stats pass.
Joe Mauer may be the next. As he waits on deck. 0-2 pitch. And Wilson fouls it away.
And he got that batter out.
So his numbers are pretty good fourth time through the order then.
Fantastic. One of the best in baseball. Maybe the best.
There's a 2-strike pitch. Another foul ball, so Wilson stays alive. Mentioned he spent a couple of seasons with the Rangers, or parts of the 15 and 16 season with the Rangers. Just the 19th game he has started at catcher this year for Minnesota. He was called up that first week of May when Jason Castro went to the DL, and just prior to Castro's surgery. Another swing, and this one popped up first base side. Playable. 2 away. Time for a Chevy game break. Let's say hi again to Rick Renner. Thanks, Rick. Yeah, the Dodgers came in to play 2.5 back today. Diamondbacks 10 games over 500. Giants not too far off the pace either, though. 39 and 39 for the year.
A lot of back and forth in that division this year. I think it should be interesting down the stretch. Each team has their strengths and weaknesses, some injuries they're dealing with. I don't think there is a clear-cut favorite to win that division right now.
Dodgers have won it the last 5 years. And were heavy favorites prior to some injuries this season. 0-2 the count now on Mauer.
I think all things being equal, and if they were healthy, I would say yes, the Dodgers are probably the team most likely to be able to win that game. But Kershaw's issues are certainly something they have to be concerned about. He threw last night just 3 innings, but his velocity is down. And that's a little bit concerning for Clayton Kershaw. He's just averaging 90 miles an hour yesterday with that fastball. Put up 5 hits in those 3 innings against the Mets, a game that the Dodgers eventually went on to win yesterday.
Colon's 1-2 pitch to Mauer, and he hits it on the ground, third base. Beltre right there, and it's a 1-2-3 bottom of the 7th. So Colon continues to hang in there. We go to the 8th inning. Rangers need a little offense, trailing 2-0.
that Jose Barrios did, the greatness of his breaking ball. It was very, very good today. The Rangers struggled against that pitch the entire day. 7 of his strikeouts came on that curveball. As a front door curveball to Delino going below the zone, and then Joey Gallo swinging over the top. That last one was number 12. As you see the total pitch usage for Barrios, the fastballs, the curveballs, some of those changeups. 12 strikeouts when it was all said and done as a new career high. And with that, some terrific news. He will not strike out anybody else today. He is no longer in the game.
Can't be done. Instead, Trevor Hildenberger will check in here. There's Guzman, Delano DeShields, and then Shin-Soo Choo. 2-0 our score. It's a corner call.
You were telling us the story yesterday about Hildenberger and how important he's become. His track of getting to the big leagues and everything else, pretty amazing. But he hasn't just gotten to the big leagues. He has now been an impact arm, asked to pitch in big spots.
Well, he gets a quick ground out to start his appearance here in the 8th inning. Which gives us a moment for a word from our friends at Kia.
At Kia, get America's best value backed by a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty.
One out, and now DeShields, who is 0 for 2. Probably one of the happier guys in the lineup to see Barrios out of the game. His at-bats were very quick. Both ended in strikeouts. And it takes ball 1 here from Hildenberger.
Yeah, Delano did look a little bit uncomfortable against the slider and the fastball. I should say curveball and fastball from Barrios.
Ground ball in the hole at shortstop. And they just get Delano 2 away. So here comes Shin-Soo Choo. He's been on twice today. So now a 37-game on-base streak. Average at .331 during the stretch. 9 homers. Really just remarkable numbers all the way around for Choo. They need him on here in the 8th. Hildenberger gets 2 quick outs on 4 pitches. Rangers today, they've had 1 man in the scoring position. That was Choo back in the 1st inning. He doubled on the first pitch of the game. Eventually got to third base, but he was the last man to navigate that far. 1-1 pitch, and he swings and misses.
Coming from that arm angle with the changeup at 79 miles an hour, and you think that you would have a good look at it, but it's so deceptive. So you got to be worried about the fastball, which has pretty decent velocity for a sidearmer.
Off the plate, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Hildenberger played 5 years of college ball at Cal in the Pac-12 before being drafted. Here's a little tapper back toward the mound. And the righty has it, throws out Choo, and it's a quick 1-2-3. 8th inning, so he does it again. We go to the last of the 8th inning. Rangers probably dipping into that up on the top part of the scoreboard. 2-0, Twins leading. And a little note that MLB At Bat, widely considered the #1 Rangers app. Customize your experience. Take advantage of great features like MLB.TV Game of the Day, in-game highlights, stats, news, and a whole lot more. Download it, MLB At Bat, today. Alex Claudio on here with the 8th inning.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it's all said and done for Bartolo Colon, who had a good day. There's the pitch arsenal for Alex, the fastball, the changeup, an occasional slider. It's a good slider, too. You don't see it too often because the changeup has been the go-to secondary pitch for Alex Claudio.
Well, just misses the outside corner. Ball 1. Eddie Rosario, the second place hitter. 2 hits today. And fouls that one away. Rosario, you know, I don't always know how much stock to put into these kinds of things. They like to break down the daytime and nighttime batting averages for guys. He's one of the best in the day in the American League. A .387 batting average during day games. And so, yeah, you make that little note early in the game. Yeah, he ends up with 2 hits so far in 3 at-bats. Maybe there's something to it.
So a couple different things when it comes to that for me. Usually I would expect the older guys to be pretty good in day games, especially if you have children. Waking you up pretty early, getting on your nerves the way that children often do. I would expect the younger guys, well, a little bit of a different schedule away from the ballpark, and that day games could be an issue. But obviously not the case for Rosario. I hated day games for most of my career. Spring training kind of gets you a little jacked up too, but as I got older, I embraced them a little bit more.
Because hey, you seem like a morning guy to me. You're always up and out in the morning. Got your headband on, jogging around the hotel lobby. This one down the left field line, fouling out of play.
With matching wristbands.
Yep.
High tube socks.
I was at the dynamic warm-up I see you take part in usually down there around the coffee machine. It's really impressive. Rosario, Escobar, Dozier this inning for Minnesota. And a swing and a miss, strike 3. Claudio strikes out the first man he faces here in the 8th inning, 1 away. So we're coming home. Padres in town tomorrow, opening game in that 3-game series. We'll have the pregame coverage beginning at 6:30, and we'll see. Who knows? Rangers might still be trying to extend that winning streak. Our Ford probables. Cole Hamels, boy, he's been great against the Padres. Grew up in San Diego. So looking forward to seeing that tomorrow night. Eduardo Escobar batting now for the Twins. Rangers have won 7 straight. But they're going to have to come up with some 9th inning magic today if they're going to make it 8 in a row. Check swing.
That was a good pitch.
Yeah, as I said, the pitch itself looked pretty good.
It's that 88-mile-an-hour sinker from Alex Claudio. Good late movement on him. Must have just finished off the plate. Let's take a look here. Oh, that's close.
1 and 2 the count.
That's amazing. I mean, 73 miles an hour, 2-0 count. He puts it right on the corner. Escobar takes a monster swing. You'd almost rather him make contact on that pitch just because it's going to be weak contact that's going to turn into an out.
Fouls that one off.
How about the difference in speed? Right, so the first one was, I believe, 73 miles an hour. That one, 68. It's the same pitch. But to be able to take a little bit more off, I mean, that'll get you spitting on yourself.
I mean, it's just
trying to hit a 68-mile-an-hour pitch.
A mess. 1-2. He pounds that one away. So when you see those, I mean, his pitches are awesome. Sometimes, you know, when he's really
deceiving guys. It's so much fun to watch. But he doesn't throw hard. And we were talking earlier about guys being filthy.
Yeah.
Or dirty.
Yeah.
Is he kind of, is he filthy and dirty sometimes, or just tricky?
It's a good question. I think I would leave that to opposing hitters or whether or not they felt that the changeup was filthy. It's certainly really difficult to hit.
Well, that one popped up. Between third and short, and handled by Profar. 2 away.
I think it's certainly irritating for a lot of hitters. That changeup can't stay back. Hard to get a good swing on it when Alex is hitting his spots. And I think a hitter is more likely to give a certain pitch that kind of credit. Say it's filthy and nasty when it's just too tough to deal with. It usually has to be probably higher velocity. So I'm going to say that he'll have a hard time getting a hitter to say that changeup is filthy. It is, though.
It's broadcaster filthy.
Yeah.
We'll go with that. Dozier 0 for 3. Watches one off the plate. 1-1 the count.
Although dirty probably applies better in that situation because it comes across as also sneaky.
Yeah. Tricky.
Yeah.
Floats that one just a little low. 2-1. So as a pitcher, let's say that the results are going to be the same regardless. Would you rather be a guy who was filthy, had the good hard stuff to get your work done, or would it be more fun to be a little bit tricky? This one down the right field corner, foul. 2-2.
I think you want to be filthy. I think you want to embarrass guys. You want to get them to spit on themselves, walk away flustered. Or just not even that. You want to beat them first and foremost.
Yeah, but I'm saying
after you beat
results are
them,
the same.
then you then you want to degrade them too, though, a little bit. It's part of the process. So the harder throwing, nasty breaking ball guys, like, they can make you feel bad about yourself. I think the slower changeup, you feel like I can get it sooner or later. The nasty breaking ball, Corey Kluber's breaking ball, it's an example. You feel like you may never have a chance to hit that thing.
2-2. Ground ball up the middle, and that one is through. Dozier on for the first time today. So the Twins have an 8th inning base runner, and it gets Logan Morrison to the plate.
Good location on the fastball. You see it down right on the corner, and Alex Claudio, when contact happens against him, it happens on the ground at a pretty high rate. 64% ground balls for him. That's nearly 20% above average. But if you hit it in the right place like that, it could turn into a base hit.
By virtue of him reaching, you get to the Morrison-Grossman part of the lineup, which has sort of been the tough part today. Morrison had a base hit back in the 2nd inning. Grossman, who waits on deck, has really been tough today. A leadoff double in the 5th, scored the first run. Then he drove in the 2nd run the next inning. So the 5th and 6th place hitters really have been the tough ones today. Morrison yesterday had the big home run, and the single he hit earlier, boy, he crushed it. Which sort of sounds silly, but if you saw it earlier, you know that it was
crushed. That single.
I mean,
it's accurate.
Just demolished it. He's big on the eye black. Definitely gets after the eye black. He had pounded that one off the wall there underneath the flowers. And off that concrete part of the wall. Did not hit any limestone, as I understand it.
What about sauerkraut?
And he did avoid the sauerkraut. 2-0. Here's a swing and a miss.
It's a really nice feature that they have here. I think it takes away from, just kind of the blandness of that green wall. Flowers hanging over a little bit. A little serenity for Nomar Mazara when he's out there.
Yeah. Very peaceful. Two and two the count. You know what they don't have out there, and they don't need it up here, but would be cool in a hot ballpark. Like, let's say this was down a really hot part of
the United States. Underneath that flower pot there, like little misters.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Would that be nice?
I agree with that. Now, as cool as those flowers are, if you made those seats, those would be some of the best seats in all of baseball. You feel like you're really part of the action.
Oh, yeah. Keep an eye on Dozier. Has 4 stolen bases this year.
So, is the limestone in play there, by the way? Do you hit one off?
You hit it off the flower pot there?
Yeah.
That's a good question. It's a swing and a miss. So Morrison strikes out. The inning is done. Now, when we come back, last chance for the Rangers. 2, 3, and 4. Profar, Mazzara, and Bell.
Out of this bullpen has had a pretty good year. You see the strikeout to walk ratio. Opponent's batting average very good as well. 16 for 19 in save opportunities. And so he certainly is dealing with one here, and he'll have to go through the middle of the order for it. Rodney, 94-mile-an-hour fastball. He's got a live arm. It's the changeup that is the difference maker for him. That one sits at 83. He'll also throw a slider once in a while, but when he is on, it is all about fastball and changeup for the right-hander.
All right, Ryan Lamar has come in to play center field. And that moves Kepler over into right. And those flower baskets are in play.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So Fernando Rodney in this 9th inning. It's a 2, 3, and 4 for the Rangers. And a swing and a miss. Strike 1. Profar's had a tough afternoon. 0 for 3. Batting in the 2-hole today. Gets a swing and a miss. The count 0-2. Well, we saw this game was started by Bartolo Colon, the oldest player in Major League Baseball. There's the second oldest player in Major League Baseball right there, Fernando Rodney.
I would have never guessed that.
Yeah.
How old is he?
41, I believe.
He is?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Bounces that one up there. 1-2 the count. Yeah, Rodney is just a couple saves away from tying Rick Aguilera for 20th on the all-time saves list. Rodney with 316 saves in his career.
I would have never guessed that he was 41 years old.
2-2.
Today's start by Bartolo Colon, it was a good one. He allowed just 2 runs. He kind of broke the weird kind of deal he had going on where he was letting up a lot of runs and hardly any runs, and then a lot again. Over his last 6 starts, he'd let up 6, then 3, then 6, then 2, then 8, then 3. I don't know if there's really anything to that, but it just seemed like every other start over his last 6, he'd been struggling a little bit. This is back-to-back starts where he's been very good.
Swing and a miss. Profar strikes out. Start the 9th inning. We check in with Leslie McCaslin.
Well, guys, Martin Perez left the team today to go start his rehab assignment. He will pitch tomorrow with single A Hickory. A minimum of 3 innings is what Jeff Bannister said. They chose single A because of how long he's been out, but he threw light BP in Kansas City earlier in the week, 75 to 80 pitches and no pain in his arm. So good news for him, good news for the Rangers.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, he went through that entire situation this past offseason where he injured his non-throwing arm. And he was determined to be ready for opening day. It seemed like he was going to maybe miss the first month of the season. He did a nice job bouncing back, but just didn't see himself at the start of the season. And, he was throwing the ball really well at the end of spring training. I was very excited about the potential 2018 season for Martin Perez. He looked like he was primed to have a really big year. Unfortunately, didn't get off to the start that he wanted to, and then dealing with the injury. And so maybe that picks up now and try to reset it and just try to have a strong second half.
Rodney ahead 0-2, and he misses way off the plate. Did the same thing really with Profar. Got ahead 2 strikes, and then nibbled around a little bit, see if he can get Profar to offer. Eventually struck him out. And he strikes out Mazzara. So 2 away. Now the Rangers really going to need to conjure a little bit of magic. Adrian Beltre, the oldest position player in baseball this year, against the oldest reliever. So some veterans squaring off here with 2 out in the 9th. They've seen a decent amount of one another over the years. Beltre just 2 for 16 against Rodney. Off the plate, 2-0. What the Rangers need more than anything right now is simply a base runner. Get somebody on, and then maybe Odor, or after him, Gallows. Somebody runs into one. Bloop and a blast, we call it sometimes in these 9th innings, down by 2. 3-0.
About a walk in the blast.
I'll take it.
You into that?
On board. A quiet day offensively for the Rangers. No runs, just 3 hits, and there is strike 1.
Kind of the auto call there, and you see some frustration on the face of Adrian Beltre, trying to go middle away, missed the spot by a pretty good amount, and it was in off the plate. But umpires just have a tendency of calling anything close on a 3-0 count a strike.
Now it's a full count. Strikeouts have been a pretty big story in this series for Rangers hitters. Struck out 12 times yesterday, 14 times so far today. A total of 32 Rangers strikeouts in this series. Now they won the first 2 games. A 3-2 from Rodney and a swing and a miss. Another strikeout. And Rodney strikes out the side in order with the 9th inning. Against the Twins. They're 1 win in this series, 2-0 the final score. So the Rangers couldn't quite sweep the road trip
but they go 5-1, and their 7-game losing streak now at a close. Rick Renner, Mark McLemore, and Mike Bassick back in the studios, getting ready to entertain you. For CJ Nikowski, Leslie McCaslin, and our entire crew, I'm Dave Raymond, inviting you to stay with us. More coverage of Rangers baseball coming up right after this.